Hi, friends. Welcome to the live stream. I forgot to tell you any of the recent recordings we've done that during the month of November, I was watching a lot of film noir, Veronica, because Noir-vember, that's what I was going for. Noir-vember. And I really enjoyed them. I watched a lot. I really strived to watch a lot during the month of November. And I will tell you some of my favorites, my top 3 that I enjoyed last month were Where Danger Lives, which has a young Robert Mitchum. I forget the year it came out. 1949's Tension. I liked that a lot. And then 1946's Nobody Lives Forever. And I don't remember who's in Tension or who's in Nobody Lives Forever, but I enjoyed those. I also watched something called, I want to say it's Highway 301. It deals with like a real life crime gang. Of the ones I watched, probably the most gruesome for its time. Anyway, I just saw you, so I don't feel like I don't feel like I know I don't know what's going on with you.
Well, I feel compelled to say that I am still getting over a head cold, so there's going to be coughing. Just letting you know, I can't help it.
I don't really have any, since you just saw me too, I don't really have anything new to report. Oh, Ron, forgot, I was going to tell you this. Guess what I showed the kids this morning? Guess what they watched? The Last Unicorn.
Oh, are there any tears?
No, I mean, like, the youngest was like, well, I liked it, but it was sad. And I was like, well, not really. It isn't sad. Like she turns back to what she's supposed to be, and it's okay. But I get what his feelings are, because what I was remembering, I remember what recently Ronnie and I were texting, maybe within the last year or two, we were texting about The Last Unicorn. And I had internalized that it was sad. And she had to remind me that it doesn't end sad. Like I seem to have internalized that the unicorns don't come back, but they do. She reminded me about that. But I think what I internalize as being sad, which I think he did also, is that it's sad that it's like she's back to being a unicorn, but it's like she forever has to hold this grief in her heart, her regret, her, whatever, sadness. So I'm sad for her. She knows heartbreak.
But then she'll also know the value of happiness because of that. And she's grown. Anyway. She's grown in a way that most unicorns don't ever get to grow because they don't have those experiences. Our experiences are what make us.
So one thing that oldest was weirded out by, and that I guess I also had forgotten, how much song is in that cartoon. They break out in song a lot, Ron.
Do they? I don't remember.
Walking Man's Road, like just old early 80s, late 70s
Who did the
songs.
music?
You have to go back and watch it.
I have I need to get like one of the newer editions of the book. The book also ends, and it's been a few years since I read it, because the prince, whatever, I can't remember his name, and obviously Amalthea is really a unicorn, so that was never going to work. And actually, I like that. It didn't get the Disney-fied version. She goes back to being a unicorn, and he goes on, and he leaves his father's kingdom, and along the way, he meets a princess, and I don't remember exactly. I mean, it kind of ends there where he meets her, but it just gave you the sense that if not her particularly, at least he was going to find happiness again also, because life goes on.
Yeah, because the cartoon doesn't cover that. The cartoon just like he goes off and like that's it. She goes home and that's the end. So that's nice. He finds love again.
Well, good. It just kind of
the
hints
potential
at the
for love. Yeah, the potential for love.
Life goes on and you can find happiness again.
No, I mean, not that the characters break out into song, but there's a lot of music in it. And so
who did the music for that? Now you've got me curious.
You remember like the opening song, right? Like of the last unicorn. Yeah. Alex, my spouse, people, for those who don't know, he'd never seen it. I was like, how have you never seen it? Oh. Even I've seen it. How have you never seen it? So he watched a little bit of it. He didn't get to finish it because he had other stuff to do. But the oldest still wants to watch The Hobbit, the Hobbit cartoon. And I don't remember when that one came out. I think that was the one I told you once I tried to start with them and I just got too tripped out by it. I was like, I can't do this, guys. I can't.
Okay, so the music was composed by Jimmy Webb, but the lyrics were sung by the band America. And it was something with an A. I was going to say Asia, but
America, which
another
was
continent.
Like, was that like a band you'd heard of prior to that cartoon?
I think it was a band from like the 70s, kind of.
So I didn't realize The Last Unicorn came out the year I was born. It came out in 1982. Did you see it in theaters? Like, what was the deal with you in that movie?
No, I don't think. Did I see it in theaters? I don't remember when I swear I saw it first.
Well, my friends, welcome to the live stream. This is our final live. Oh, I haven't even introduced the show. do that. Hold on. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Spanish language horror and Latin American horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
So yes, this is our final live stream of 2025, and it's essentially us ringing in the holiday season with you guys. So one of the things I sent Veronica, I'm not giving her a quiz. I think I send her into a panic every time I give her a quiz. This isn't a quiz. This is just a bit of Hollywood horror movie trivia that I thought would be fun for us to look at together. And I'm going to share my screen so that you can see it. Useless horror film trivia brought to us by HorrorSociety.com. If you look at the first one, Ron, and for those of you watching on the live stream, you're seeing what I'm sharing. I'm sharing my screen. Black Christmas, which is a film that came out in 1974. I think I had heard this before on another horror podcast, that the audio for the demented phone calls was edited into the film during post-production. So while shooting the footage for those phone call scenes, the actresses were actually just reacting to the dialogue being spoken from the director.
Wait, what
camera.
movie is this?
Black Christmas. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it, and I've listened to horror podcasts where they've covered this movie. 1974. Isn't this, Ron? Hold on. Isn't Black Christmas Yeah, it stars Olivia Hussey, who I only know from Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I think
She
that's the
also
only thing I
played
ever saw.
Jesus' mother, Mary.
That's right. Yeah,
And she was also in Death on the Nile.
Oh, Agatha Christie?
Yes.
Is that Death on the Nile? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something Nazareth. Was that a made-for-TV movie?
I don't know. It might have been a movie.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I do remember it. Now that you bring that up, I do remember her.
I think it was a cinema movie.
Okay, so then next up, by the way, these are all, if I didn't say it before, these are all holiday editions. So it's all going to be holiday movies. Silent Night, Deadly Night, which came out in 1984. That opened the same weekend as Nightmare on Elm Street. Briefly outdid Nightmare on Elm Street before profits ultimately fell by the second weekend. I guess Nightmare on Elm Street at that point took over. That same year, 1984, was when Gremlins came out. That's crazy that all three of those came out around the same time. That's a lot. Did you see Gremlins in theaters, Ron?
I don't remember.
Okay, well.
That was all too long ago.
Yeah. So Zach Galligan revealed in an interview that when the movie came out, obviously there wasn't CGI, so all the Gremlins were animatronics, and each one cost 30 to 40,000 pounds. Why does it say USD and then it has the pound symbol? So anyway, when everyone left the lot for the day, security would have everyone pop the trunks on their cars to make sure they weren't stealing the Gremlins. Oh, and then there was Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which came out in 87. Okay, so here's the situation with that one. Fun trivia. When Eric Freeman played the role of Ricky, he had a strong eyebrow movement in his performance. He moves his eyebrows up and down in total of 130 times. I've never seen the Silent Night, Deadly Nights. Jack Frost. Some of these aren't very terribly interesting. That was Shannon Elizabeth's first acting role.
Who is she? I don't even know who she is.
You're not going to know her. She's from American Pie. She was in the American Pie movies. Jack Frost was her first role. Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. It rained the entire 4 weeks of shooting for that movie, resulting in a tropical island with an amazing lack of sun. Then in 2005, there was Santa's Sleigh, and the old book that explains the origin of Santa Claus is written in Icelandic. Some believe that parts of the Santa mythos are taken from Norse legends. Then there was the remake for Black Christmas, which came out in 2006. Let's see, Andrea Martin, who played Phyllis in the original, said in an interview that she hadn't thought about Black Christmas for 32 years, and it came out of the blue when Glenn Morgan offered her the role as the house mother in the movie. Okay, two more. Silent Night, 2012. It's partially inspired by the real-life Covina Holiday Massacre, which took place on Christmas Eve in 2008. I'm going to have to go digging on that one. And then our last little bit of trivia, 2012's Caesar and Otto's Deadly Xmas. Judith O'Dea was offered the role of Roberta, but turned it down. So I just thought that would be fun for those of you who do dabble in holiday horror to take a look at.
All right, so usual disclaimer, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie, go check it out, and then you can come back and pick up where you left off. But for the movie this time around, we watched 2023's You Are Not Alone. Of course, the Spanish title, Tu No Eres Yo. Came in at 1 hour, 38 minutes, currently available on Amazon Prime Video, at least in the States. Two directors, directed by Marisa Crespo and Moises Romera. This one stars Pilar Almeria as Dory, Alvaro Bagena as Oriol, Ana Curica as Nadia, Roser Tapia as Aitana, Yapuena Silva as Gabby, Pilar Martinez as Pepita, Jonathan Mellar as Nicolas, and Jorge Motos as Saul. The little blurb for the movie just says, Aitana returns home for Christmas the first time after 3 years to find that her parents have replaced her with an unknown woman who is being treated like their daughter. She discovers a disturbing and bloody truth.
It's not what I was pleasantly surprised because when I watched the trailer, I watched the trailer. Ronnie never watches the trailer, so I gave it a look, and it looked disturbing, and especially just coming off of. I think Ronnie and I are both kind of going through a little bit of like end of year fatigue, where it's just like I can't watch any more traumatic movies. So when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. So I prepped her. I was like, Ron, this could be a little weird, FYI. Thankfully, it wasn't. There were some weirdness to it, but it definitely wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to go. So I was grateful for that. Ultimately, all in all, I enjoyed it for what it was. Different than what I thought it was going to be. How did you feel about it?
Well, I had no expectations, obviously.
Yeah, she went in blind.
I didn't even know it was set at Christmas. And I wouldn't even say it had a strong Christmas feel to it.
Yeah.
Even though this is all happening, I think, on like Christmas Eve. But I wouldn't say it has I wouldn't say that you feel the Christmas atmosphere in the movie. So I went in with zero expectations. Didn't even know what it was about. And I thought it was okay. I did think it kind of drug it out a little long. I was like, okay, let's move it along here, people. Let's get to the point. But I thought overall it was pretty good. I have some thoughts on maybe like the last 15 to 20 minutes, but we can get there.
Yeah, that's the same kind of note I had and that others had based on the resources that we've linked for you guys, because it was like the final 20 minutes of this film, and I was just like, where are we going with this? Like, what is the climax going to be? What is the plot twist going to be? And I thought I had my ideas. Did you have inklings of what you thought this was going to be?
Not at first. It really wasn't until all the dinner guests start arriving. I was thinking, okay, is this like vampires? Is this like some kind of...
I was thinking cannibals. I was like, I was straight up thinking cannibals.
No, I was thinking like, is this some kind of like, because when they were referring to that old man at the head of the table, whoever his name is, as father, I was thinking, okay, is this like a vampire clan? But then I was like, but they're all really old.
Old people cult is what I called it. The old people cult, which felt a little bit like that part of it felt like Rosemary's Baby, just like old people cult. Mm-hmm. You don't trust a bunch of old people getting together.
So then I thought that's when I started thinking that was going to go in that direction. There was like vampires, or it's some kind of creepy cult type thing.
I don't know what it was. During the watching of it, I felt like I could have told you so strongly why I felt a certain way about this, but I really genuinely did think cannibal. I don't know why. I think just because like there were so many there weren't so many, but there were key references to meat eating and preparation. Like when they bring out the pig for dinner, and it's not even a pig, it's a piglet that's expected to feed a huge dinner party. Like that piglet wouldn't feed the whole
That was just very unappetizing.
Because initially I thought, okay, maybe they are grooming Nadia for some like youth ritual, like cultists, and they believe that she's going to bring some fountain of youth. But then I thought, no, if that's not it, what else could it be? They're going to eat her. And I was like, that's what they're prepping her for. So the whole time I was just like, it's a cult.
When they called her up, like near the end of the party, I guess, when they called her up to make a toast and for her to speak, that's the first time I started to get an inkling of like, she's some kind of sacrifice for whatever this is that's going on. I did wonder what was her partner's name?
Gabby?
Gabby. Uh-huh. Like, how clueless can you be that you're not picking up on all this weirdness that's going on with the family? It's like, are you paying attention?
Well, and it's
get your baby and get out of there.
So to set people up for anyone who hasn't seen this movie, so Aitana and Gabby show up with their adopted son, whose name
starts with a J. I don't know.
Joe, adopted baby, and they show up as a surprise to her family, who she's kind of estranged from, because I think she's just sort of like, they're very ultra conservative. She's with her partner, and I think at one point she must have been, you get the sense that she was engaged. She was going to get married.
Yeah, she ran out on that wedding, apparently.
So she's just, in their eyes, she's a disappointment. And so she thinks that she's going to show up and they'll reconcile. And just from the jump, they're just weird. They're weird and they're hostile to her in such a way that I'm like, she tries to leave multiple times and Gabby's like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Let's, she's trying to be respectful. But I'm like, no, at a certain point, leave. Like, get out, go.
Which I do have to say, considering that Aitana has been, by her own choice, not seen her parents in 3 years, like,
Mhm.
why would you expect that just showing up unannounced on Christmas Eve of all days is going to be a good idea?
Right.
I
Yeah.
understand wanting to reconnect. She's a mother now. She and her partner have this baby. So I understand the need to want to reconnect with family. Although apparently
Yeah.
she's been talking to her brother, at least on the phone, not so much with her parents, but
No, I had the
ease
same
into it and maybe
I,
do it on,
yeah, I
don't do it
had this
unannounced. Like give
I
people
I
some.
I had the
Mhm.
same note. 35 minutes in, I'm currently torn between acknowledging that the way her family is acting is indeed weird, but also it's like maybe you're being unreasonable in what you're expecting coming back into the scene, like maybe adjust your expectations a
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, maybe you should have planned to visit like on maybe. I mean, holidays are always stressful as it is under the best circumstances. They can be tense family times, and when you haven't been involved in someone else's life for 3 years, and you choose that's the day you choose to come and reinsert yourself.
So there was a
Yeah.
there was a note that I made because I was just making notes. So like halfway 30 minutes into the movie, I was clocking 30 minutes into the movie, Veronica. I don't know if you notice this, but there's some establishing scenes where Aitana is walking around holding the bottle that she's warmed up for the baby.
Hmm.
And she's just walking around holding this bottle. And I'm like, when are you going to go feed the baby the bottle? Like the baby is just hanging out all this time without the bottle. Every time she like walked through a different part of the house still holding the bottle, I'm like, go feed the baby. Ma'am, your baby is starving. Please go give him the bottle that you warmed up like 20 minutes ago. Let's see what else. What else?
What did you make of the beginning scene where they're driving, like with the pigs? Like, what was
Yeah.
that?
I felt like that was a sense of foreboding, but I don't know what about. Like, she sees a pig. First of all, she almost runs, as she says later, she almost runs over a pig and then they veer off the road. But then she sees a pig that's all bloody. And I don't know what that's about. I feel like it was foreshadowing, obviously, but it's like, what is it foreshadowing? I don't know. So, because a pig, makes an entrance later on in the movie, again, all
Mhm.
bloodied. And you're like, what is this all about?
See, I thought she had hit that pig, like,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
just
That
glanced it
one.
with the car and that's why it was bloody. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand what that. And then when it shows up later, even more so, I was like, what? Because it's clearly not the pig they ate because that was a
No,
big pig,
it
like
was
a
a
full
big pig, and then
grown.
like the pig they
Yeah,
served was this little piglet. And
that
again,
was
I'm
so
just like,
disgusting.
it was
I'm not even
disturbing.
vegetarian and that would turn me off.
That was in the trailer, and that was like, oh, I don't know where this is going. But I was just thinking, I was like, that little piglet wouldn't serve that big dinner party. And so then when they're dishing out the plates of meat to everybody, I'm like, no way, you don't get that much meat off that piglet. If I were to go back and watch it again, I would pay closer attention to where the comments of meat and eating meat came in, that just enough of it came through that I was just, as I was trying to piece together what these people might be in a club about, I was
Hmm.
just thinking, well, maybe they're cannibals, maybe that they're going to eat Nadia. I don't know what that would do for them, but maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I did have the question because obviously Aitana, she discovers that Nadia is this woman that's apparently been living with her parents, and her parents have just kind of, by all appearances, have just taken her into their bosom, and they call her Cariña, and they call her daughter, and
They gave her
they give
room.
them, the
I
grandmother's, ruby earrings to wear, and they give her Aitana's wedding dress that she was never going to wear anyway
Yeah.
to wear to this party. And so they're just showing her all the care and attention that you would think they would show to and being, like you said, pretty hostile to their own daughter.
And just being so blatant about it too, like
Hmm.
blatantly showing her this affection and stuff. And it's just like, at a certain point, why are you even putting up with it? Just leave.
And then you
Yeah.
you find out that having this Christmas party with these people that are coming is out of the norm, that their usual Christmas tradition is for an aunt and uncle to come and spend Christmas with them. And when Aitana finally is able to connect via phone with her aunt, she finds
Hmm.
out that they haven't even been to the house in months and months. And
Yeah.
so they don't have any knowledge of who Nadia is because they've just kind of been shut out of their life, Aitana's parents' lives. So you're getting the sense that there is some weirdness going on. And of course, Aitana's focus is on Nadia.
Yeah.
And so that actually, you as the reader, because you're kind of experiencing this along with Aitana and seeing all this weirdness that she's seeing, and you're led to believe that, okay, there's something weird about Nadia.
No,
And then, of
Nadia.
course, she
Yeah.
has that dream, which just cements it, that Nadia is the
Yeah.
focal point of whatever
Yeah.
is off. So it's kind
Yeah.
of a red herring because
Yeah. You think it's going to be kind of like Hand That Rocks the Cradle, like she's looking
Mhm.
to replace her, or Single White Female. That I'm thinking of that movie. It was just like she's looking to replace her. She's going to do something that is going to threaten Aitana's life or whatever.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah, I mean,
you find out the story that she's just a homeless refugee from Romania. Is that where she was from?
halfway towards the end of the movie when she's freaked out, she's speaking Romanian.
Romania.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of this homeless refugee that kind of showed up on their doorstep one day asking for the work food exchange situation. And so it seems all the more weird that her parents would have just opened their house eventually to this
Yeah.
stranger. So yeah, we're very much easily sucked into thinking, okay, Nadia's the reason for whatever, all this
How is it?
oddness.
How is it? Do you think that her parents even got roped into this cult in the first place?
Well, I think it was just chance meeting. She said that they met Pepita and her husband on a cruise, and
Um,
Pepita started choking at one point, and
that's
Aitana's
right. That's right.
father
That's right.
performed the Heimlich, and so I guess in that they
Yeah.
started talking and they became friends, and then at some point, I'm sure Aitana's parents mentioned whatever their son Sal, Aitana's brother, has, which is never specifically divulged, but it's he used
Yeah.
to walk, and so I'm thinking maybe like MS or something, or
Yeah. Some sort of
ALS, or
debilitating
yeah,
disease.
some kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
disease where he's
Yeah.
just lost the ability to walk and he's kind of losing motor function, and just by chance, because what did they say several times? Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens
Um,
for a reason. Yeah.
they I'm sure posed the, well, we belong to this cult and we can help you with that.
Okay. Well, what did you make of the so like not Nadia, as Aitana is getting increasingly more and more paranoid of Nadia? One of the things that the resources we linked for you guys points out, or a lot of them anyway, points out, is that the film does a really good job of painting the scenes and giving you the vibe that it's like you can't tell what's in Aitana's head versus what's legit. Like, is
Mhm.
she just being paranoid? Is this for real? It does not help that she keeps just throwing back red wine when it's like, maybe stop drinking
Mhm.
because you are having a hard time staying awake. But she's been drugged, as they all have. I don't know. What did you think of like the party scene when these old people show up, who are all dressed up, by the way? They're all dressed up for a dinner party that seems over the top to me, but I was appreciating it. I was like, oh yeah, let's bring back dressing up for dinner. But what
Too
did you
much
make of
trouble.
these people, these weird people? A
Well,
weird mix of people.
that's when I was thinking it was. I mean, I honestly was thinking it was some kind of vampires, and then because at some point Gabby brings out their son, their infant son, and everybody, like all these old people, just swarm to
Freak
him.
out. Yeah.
And Aitana's mother is like, "Oh no!" Like she's clearly uncomfortable and wants to remove the baby from this situation. So at least she has that sense of,
Yeah.
okay, this is
This is
this
a
is.
bridge too
I'm
far.
not going to go this far.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever,
yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so that's when I was like, oh, like this is some kind of.
See, that's so funny because you were thinking vampire and I was thinking they want to eat the baby.
But both focused on maybe youth and
Yeah.
trying to appropriate that or steal that somehow, or
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh God, please don't, not the baby, get the baby out of there.
I was very worried for the welfare of that child throughout the movie because it's just like, number one, it's just the chillest baby ever. Like, they'll set the baby down and then both of them will just leave the baby for long stretches of time to either interact with other adults or whatever. I'm like, it's just the chillest baby in the world that you can just hang out. At one point, I think Aitana has the vision or something that
Mhm.
Nadia is holding the baby over like a ledge and then drops the baby.
Mhm.
So the whole time I was just incredibly freaked out for the child. And especially when that scene you're describing where the old people are fawning over it, I was thinking, oh my God, it increased my fears even more for the
Mhm.
welfare of that baby. Because it was like, oh my God, they want to eat the baby.
Well, and then
'Cause-
that scene at the party when Gabby's been like passed out on the couch for who knows how long, and
yeah.
Saul's kind of out of it in his
And they've
chair.
been given Pepita's liquor,
Yes,
which he makes
strong
a point of
liquor.
referencing.
Even Aitana's getting kind of bleary eyed, and Gabby basically says, I'm going to bed. And she goes up and she just falls in the bed and is immediately out. And I'm like, but is the baby there? Because
Right.
they don't really show. And then later on, Aitana goes and falls in the bed with Gabby and conks out. And I'm like, but where's the baby? Show me that he's there.
And then Gabby wouldn't stir, and I'm like, oh my God, is Gabby dead? Like, what the
Mhm.
hell? But yeah, she's just out. They've been drugged. And so when we get to So what happens is Nadia hits her, what's the word I'm looking for? Her limit of what she's going to withstand. She's put up with all of the blatant disregard that her parents have shown her, the way that they've fawned over Nadia. Nadia's been off and on kind of hostile with her. So she's at her peak level of paranoia, where she finally just sort of confronts during the toast. She confronts her family. She tells them off, talks to them about this absurd party. And then she and Nadia get into like an actual physical fight, which I thought, like, little sound effects note about that scene. It was a little awkward because I felt like the fighting was effective, but the slap sound effects were really not great. Like, I went back and rewatched it again because I was like, am I imagining that it sounds that bad, or is it? The sound effects are not great for the slap effects. It doesn't really, it pulls you out of it a little bit. But aside from that, that was like, what, 20 minutes remaining in the movie or so. So she goes up, she passes out with Gabby and the baby. The baby stirs, the baby's hungry. Aitana goes down to make a bottle. And that's when she hears and stumbles upon Nadia, who's rummaging through coats. And you can tell that, like, she's panicked, she's freaked out. Mind you, the last time we saw Nadia, she was passed out on a couch. So all these hours later, she's freaked out and panicking. You know, and Aitana thinks, oh my God, I've caught you in the act. I've caught you stealing. I'm going to haul you up to my father and show him. And that's when we realize that Nadia's afraid and that people are coming after her. And so at that point, what were you thinking? You were thinking they're going to sacrifice her? She's going to be some kind of...
Yeah, well, I had already thought, like I said before, when they called her up to speak and they were making the toast to her, that she was the sacrifice for whatever.
Yeah, for something, yeah.
So this whole time, because we'd been kind of going along with Aitana's viewpoint, thinking that Nadia was the cause of the weirdness, but we were being led astray because in the whole time it was this other thing, this cult of people. But that you said something that triggered something in my head, and now I can't. Oh, because, you know, when you were saying that, she thinks she's caught Nadia in the act, because there was that one scene even earlier where she's out in the garden or on the property, and she finds that there's these two guys at the fence looking for Nadia, because apparently Nadia's been selling some of Saul's drugs to them. Aitana brings this to her parents' attention, and they just are not receptive at all. They just don't want to hear it. They don't.
Right.
That was just like, really? Like you're not willing to entertain?
Are you so unwilling? Yeah. It's like, what is this hold that this young girl has over you? It was so blatant and in your face that part of me is just like, I don't know how you put up with it. Aitana, just get out.
But yeah, so in the end, when she finds that, like, she sees the level of fear in Nadia, and then it finally penetrates that fog in her brain.
Something's afoot. Yeah, something's not right.
This is genuine. She's genuinely afraid. What is she afraid of? So Aitana's like, we have to get out of this house.
We have to go.
We have to go.
And Nadia won't move. She's
like terrified.
Petrified.
So she just shuts herself in the closet, and Aitana locks her in there. I'm
try to
assuming
keep
for
her
her own
safe.
protection.
Yeah, to try to keep her safe. And she ventures up to where they're staying in the Tourette, because she's like, we got to get out of here. And that's when she noticed the baby is missing. And that's when I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Because again, at this point, I'm thinking they are going to eat Nadia. And obviously, in the absence of Nadia, they're going to eat the baby. And then, like, I wrote this note. I was like, but how much can a baby even feed people? Like, it's not enough meat. Like, just leave the baby alone. It's not worth it. Ron, when we get to the end sequence where they're out in the field, remember how they were calling him Father Nick or Old Nick, relaying that as like, interesting, Father Nick, Saint Nick. There's a little bit of a tie-in into Christmas, I guess. Although I don't know. He talks about praying to Baal. I looked it up. It's just sort of another word for like demon, Lord, whatever. So yeah, Satan, if you want to say it. But
which I have to say, Baal must not be very on the ball. Not very smart, because apparently, in order to fix Saul or help him with whatever his medical condition is, Baal needs the sacrifice of a beloved child.
Yeah.
Okay? As we come to find out, this is the reason why Aitana's parents took Nadia in so completely and have treated her like a daughter, but it's all superficial. Like, none of it's real. They don't really care about her. They don't really love her. They're just using her. And so I'm like, okay, Baal, but like, they don't
Can't
actually
you see that.
She's not actually beloved and cherished by them. So what kind of sacrifice is she?
So it's not authentic.
Yeah, I'm
this
like,
is all a facade.
You're dumb.
No, yeah. So that's what the revelation is that it's just like these people are clearly in a cult, as we suspected. But whereas I was thinking they're going to eat her, it doesn't seem like that's where they're going with it at all. They're going to, although still right up until the end, it was like they're going to feast on her. But she is going to ultimately be the sacrifice to this god because that's what's needed to make Sal well again or able-bodied again. And then we see a whole bunch of naked old people.
Didn't really need that to see
Like
that.
at first it was just the one dude. I don't want to see, what did I write? Do we all need to be naked for this? Like, do we need to see naked peen, as Veronica would say? But then it's like, yeah, one by one they all disrobe, and I was like, ugh, it's a lot. It's a lot of naked.
My question is also like, they're all geriatric people. Like, there's probably
Yes.
nobody under the age of
These are senior citizens.
of 70 in this.
Yeah.
What do they get out of it? It's clearly not youth. So, like, what's the point?
Right. There's no young people in this cult that's worth mentioning. There's no
what do you
young
get
people.
out of it?
Interestingly enough, so when ultimately, guys, just to round it out, so once we get into this circle and we see what's going, we see Sal and he's conked out. Which, by the way, I want to ask you: do you think Sal was in on this? Do you think he knew what any of this was?
I don't think so.
Because he was also drugged and put to sleep. So
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
gonna
so.
I'm gonna say he didn't know what was going on. He's out. He's completely out. But he's prepped for the ritual. And there's all these old people in the circle. Aitana comes out because she's looking for the baby.
And she hears him crying.
Mm-hmm. And this is when we see that pig come out again. And I was thinking, oh my God, the pig ate the baby. But Father Nick tells her, basically, it's your baby, or you tell us where Nadia is. We don't want to do this. And he says that. He's like, I don't want to do this either. But there has to be a sacrifice. And it's either going to be the baby or it's going to be Nadia. And finally, Aitana's in this terrible situation. To save the baby, she finally has to surrender Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go and they give her the baby. In the process, Father Nick, he cuts his hand. She has her cut on her hand that she got previously trying to open that box. He does a blood handshake, which I'm like, that's how diseases spread. But then he smears her face with blood, which then all the old people do. Does that mean that she's now part of their cult because they've done this? They've done the blood smear on her?
I don't know. But again, I come back to it just doesn't make sense because not that I want anything to happen to the baby, but the baby meets the criteria for the actual
a truly loved
sacrifice.
Child.
He's a truly loved and cherished child, whereas Nadia is not. So I'm like, okay, this is a dumb cult.
Veronica's like, logistically speaking,
this does not fly.
So they bring out Nadia. They prep her for the ritual, and you honestly think, oh my God, they're gonna slit her throat and go through with it. And then at the last minute, Aitana's crying and holding your baby, and she's like, I just want this to be a bad dream. I just want to wake up. And she counts down from 3, and then boom, she wakes up in her bedroom. And what were you thinking at that point? Were you like, oh, is this going to be like a not terrible ending? Is this going to be a happy ending? A weird.
Yeah, I was starting to think for a minute that. But I needed to see her hand because if she had the cut on her hand, then I would kind of know that all of it happened. Initially, but then also because her parents were so total flipped in their attitude, it was a total 180. They're happy, they're chipper, they're cuddling with the baby, and
yeah, and
so that was like, okay, something's not right.
Because I was so horrified. The scene right before where they're prepping for the ritual and they're preparing to slit Nadia's throat. And then at the last second, Nadia opens her eyes. So she's going to be cognizant and awake for all of that. And I was just like, this at the screen. I was like, no. And then when she wakes up, I was like, oh my God, thank God. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. Yeah, when you're seeing her parents be so friendly and they're inviting her out, I got a little bit weirded out. And my first inclination that maybe this wasn't on the up and up was when she goes out to talk to her father and her father puts the pig face on the grill. And I was just like, I don't know. She goes out to the field where the ritual had been to sort of see if she sees any evidence that had happened, and she doesn't see anything. So I was thinking.
And the whole time I was waiting for Nadia to enter the room, and then you would know that, yes, it was a dream. Okay.
And then when Gabby tells her, did you hear what happened to Nadia? And she's like, what? And she goes, well, they caught her stealing from everybody. Or no. She
just stole and left.
Stole from everybody and left. That
Yeah.
was when I was like, oh, crap, it wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream.
And because then her brother Saul shows that he can
suddenly
get up
he's moving,
and
he's walking,
take some steps.
And you see this horrified realization come on her face that sure enough, it wasn't a dream, and she's aware of it. And it's just like, I thought that ending was really cool. I didn't.
I
And
just
it
don't know, like, do her parents honestly expect her to just,
go with the flow.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
not bring this up and not
Right.
say, what the hell did you get involved with?
Because isn't she is she a doctor? For some reason, I got the sense that she did something in the medical field, but maybe not. I don't know why
She
I
talks
thought that.
about helping people, and they call her, like, I think,
Social justice
social
warrior.
justice warrior. So, but yeah, I mean, like, do they honestly think that she's not going to remember? Or are they thinking maybe they drugged her enough that she's just not going to have any memory that any of this happened?
Yeah.
Because it was just very bizarre that you would not expect her to question or bring this up or have some
Right.
kind of, like, what the hell reaction
And
going forward.
again, it's just enough of the ending is just enough of a neat little bow that I guess if you are Aitana, you are left wondering, what is your reality? What am I imagining? And so I could see a world in which Aitana convinces herself that what she thought she had experienced was all in her head. So you could see a world in which Aitana eventually puts this behind her and convinces herself that was just a really bad trippy dream, because she doesn't have any other evidence apart from like her hand and like what she's hanging on to in her mind. But if you don't trust your mind, how do you know that what you experienced is real? I don't
But
know.
again, I have to say Gabby is one unobservant life partner because at the end, Aitana, even seeing her brother walking, she doesn't smile. She's very clearly, like, not okay. And
Yeah.
Gabby's just
She's
over there leaning
disturbed.
on her just with that little smile on her
just like,
face, like, oh, everything's hunky-dory. Isn't
look at
life
our
grand?
amazing lives.
Yes.
Da, 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 da.
It's like, are you not picking up on your partner's vibes at all?
Where would you rank this one on the light switch scale?
It wasn't really scary.
No.
Like, I don't
No.
know.
As a matter of
Maybe
like
one light switch.
it's thriller. And there's disturbing images, sure, but yeah, jump scares, no. Horror. I mean, thankfully,
Yeah.
for where I thought this was going to go, it's not as horrific as I thought it was going to be. It was just like, oh my god. And then I was thinking, as the movie progressed, and I became further and further in belief that this was going to turn out to be a cannibalistic situation, I was like, but Veronica specifically doesn't want to watch movies about cannibals. Like,
I
what
never
if I
got
thrust
that.
her into?
I mean, I can see where you got that, but I never entertained that thought at all.
Well, because I was just thinking, in the modern era, what are stories around these kind of old people cults about? Like, it's usually, unless you want to go the full realm of believing it's some sort of fountain of youth thing, which you could totally do. But the other route that would be devoid of like something supernatural or mythical is that it's like these are just freaking psychos who want to kill and eat human meat. So I don't know. I was just thinking, like, from a practical standpoint, these people probably don't believe that there's some fountain of youth. They probably just want to eat human flesh. But
What I also thought was interesting, not related to the plot of the movie at all, but just, in the subtitles, it kept switching, like, okay, like this was said in Catalan, and this was said in Spanish, and this was said in Portuguese, and so it's like,
you had some people in the dinner party who were like from Germany, and some people
well, that's
who
not
were
even the dinner party. That's just even when, like, Aitana's talking with her family. It's like it would say Spanish here and Catalan here and Portuguese here, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, guess maybe this was a Spanish movie, right, from Spain?
But Aitana and Gabby were coming from Brazil. Yeah, it was a good one. If you have not seen this one, it's definitely worth a watch. It's interesting.
Not a strong Christmas movie, I don't think.
Yeah,
really.
like, other than the fact that this seems to take place over Christmas Eve, there's nothing Christmassy about it.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess, if you count, like, here's another coming home to meet the in-laws kind of horror movie. But as you just pointed out, Gabby's oblivious for much of the movie, so it's not her horror; it's Aitana's horror. Coming home to your estranged family for the holidays. Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. And this one came out in 2023, so it could have easily have fallen off some people's radar. I liked it. I liked it. Definitely a pleasant surprise. I was kind of anticipating I was going to have a hard time with this one, but this one was enjoyable. Give it a watch. Before I ask Ronnie anything, we just want to remind you guys that we have chosen our next book for Don't Watch at Night Book Club. We're going to be reading Children of Chicago by Cynthia Pelayo, and you can find out more information about it on our website if you go to don'twatchatnight.com. So we're going to be reading through that over the holidays, and then we will have a book club discussion episode for you guys at the end of January. So stay tuned for that. Veronica, I was going to ask you, is there anything you're looking forward to this holiday season? Stuff to do, movies to watch, whatever. Anything that you're excited about?
No, I mean, I'm still waiting. I'm still hoping to get in the Christmas. Like, we just went and got a Christmas tree today.
Oh, nice. And you guys go and get a live one.
Yeah. There was a corner of the living room that's hidden by the love seat, unless you walk around that way. But if you're just in the main part of the living room, that's obscured from view. And so Robert found a big trash bag there that was full of Christmas wrapping paper from last Christmas.
Okay. Well, and you said your tree upstairs is still up, so
Yeah.
hey, what one less thing to do, right? So, guys, the only other thing that we wanted to share with you, something that popped up this past week in the LA Times De Los section. It was a piece where the big quote was Eva Longoria commenting on the status of Latina representation on screen. And the bigger takeaway, I think, from that piece is that they do reference the 2025 Hollywood Diversity Report that came out earlier this year, back in February. We've linked that for you guys, so you can go see that report in full. But I am just going to read to you a little bit from this piece just so you get a sense of what that report showed us. So it says, according to UCLA's 2025 Hollywood Diversity Report, 1% of Latino performers were leading roles in top theatrical films, and 4.3% of Latino directors and 2.1% of Latino writers were involved in last year's top films. The report, released in February, found that the proportion of people of color working in entertainment roles dropped in every area from 2023 to 2024. There was a marked drop when compared with white counterparts. So actors of color made up 25.2% of lead roles in theatrical films, and that's down from 29.2% in 2023. Directors of color were 20.2% of 2024 movies, compared to 22.9% the prior year. So I looked at both of those reports. The film, they do two reports. They do one on theatrical film, and they do one on streaming. So I looked at both of those, and I think what is evident is that the desire for diverse stories and casting are still very much there. Specifically, Black and Latinx audience goers are still very much the buyers of tickets and the people who are boosting the film industry at the box office. And the report also showed that diverse stories and diverse casting do still have global appeal. So there's really all the incentive in the world for Hollywood to quit leaving money on the table and actually continue to have diverse stories and diverse casts and diverse people behind the camera as well. So we've linked that for you guys in our show notes, and you can take a look at it. Ron, is there anything else as we close out? Because this is our final new recorded episode for you guys this year. The next episode you get this in the month of December will be like a compilation episode for you to enjoy. That'll come out Christmas week.
Everybody treat each other kindly and respectfully, and take care of yourselves. And heading into the new year, just the usual good wishes. Hang in there.
Hang in there.
Tie a knot at the end of the rope and hang in there.
Yeah. Above all, we want to wish you guys just a peaceful season. Find joy wherever you can, but protect your peace at all costs. We just want to thank you guys so much for continuing to listen and spending another year with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you in 2026.
Bye. Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production hosted by me, Veronica, and Valerie. Editing by Valerie. Music by Omar Chakor. Production support for this episode provided by Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street. Listen to new episodes of Don't Watch at Night every other Monday, and don't forget to give us a rate and review. It's the best way to help us grow.
Hi friends, it's Valerie, and I'm just dropping in really quick to let you know that I've written another book. A Song for Adelita is out now. It tells the haunting story of a family's tireless search for truth and betrayal that they'll uncover along the way. This is a book that incorporates Las Soldaderas as well as the Rio Grande Valley here in Texas. It's a story that I'm very proud of, so if you're looking for a new ghost story to read this season, pick up a copy of A Song for Adelita, available now on Barnes & Noble, Bookshop, and over on Amazon. Ebook on Amazon. And thanks for supporting independent books like mine. Bye.